Hello BookTube, Sarah here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with the weekly reads for July the 7th of 2018. In my weekly reads videos every week, I talk about all the books that I finished this week and let you know what I'm currently reading. So to start off with, it is nowhere near as hot as it was last week. Thank goodness. The heat finally broke, I think, like Thursday night. We had a massive thunderstorm, and then it just seemed like they actually said a cold front moved in. And it cooled everything right down. It is so nice right now. The humidity's gone. I don't mind the heat. It's the humidity that I can't handle. So it is earlier in the morning. It's before lunch. So I'm sitting down to record these now. Want to get these done. So I wasn't uploading on Sunday again because I always feel so bad about doing that. I know it really doesn't matter to you guys, but you know, I like to try and get this, get these done and get these up for you guys to view and whatever. So yeah, so let's jump into the books for this week. I finished 5 books this week. Yeah, so that's really good. I was really, and all of them I really enjoyed, so that's a big bonus. So the very first book that I finished reading this week was Dying Breath by Heather Graham. This is a paranormal romance. Crew of Hunters book number 21. It was narrated on audio by Luke Daniels, and it was published in 2017 by Mira. It has an average rating on Goodreads of 4.16 stars, and I gave it 4 stars. I really did enjoy this one. This is one of my favorites, I think, in the Crew of Hunters series so far. I got 4 challenges for this one done. For my 2018 June monthly challenge, I got June 21st Summer Solstice. I think this one was a book that was published in the summer. I can't remember what the prompt was. For my Stacking the Series challenge, I got my 25th out of 45th book, so only 20 more to go. For the Wonderful World of Romance quarterly challenge, I got PNR, which is Paranormal Urban Fantasy, so this falls into that category, so I got that one. And for my Summer Romance Book Bingo, I got my free space. This one was good. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed this one. It's about a character, or a woman by the name of Vicky. When she was 18, she was babysitting. This whole story takes place in Boston, which probably upped my enjoyment factor of this book. And the history, like, Boston is just such a historical city. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but when I was 17, so 22 years ago now, in May of that year, I took a class trip to Boston. I was taking a class in American History and Literature, which I loved, and that class only lasted a year. I was so glad I was able to get in on it and take that class. Now, I was older than most of the other students in the class. I would have been just turned 18, I think, or 17, and most of the other students were about 15 or 16. I was just getting credits. Like, I graduated high school with a diploma in English because I had so many English credits. But anyway, I took that class because I thought it would be fun, and I didn't know that there was going to be this trip. And then they announced the trip, and I'm like, I need to go. Mainly because one of the stops on this trip was Fenway Park. I was going to get to see my beloved Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. Big to-do for me. So I had to go. So anyway, most of the trip, though, was historical in nature, which was really, really interesting. The class itself was fascinating. You kind of did, we focused on 2 or 3 different time periods in American history, and we would talk about the historical time period, like, for example, the Vietnam War, and then we would read a book that took place during that same time period and draw the parallels and things like that. It was super duper interesting, and like I said, I'm really disappointed that they didn't continue it on, but I guess there just wasn't the interest in it in the school. But anyway, that's totally besides the point about this book. I love Boston. So a story that takes place there makes me extra happy. And so anyway, the story, like I said, is about a woman named Vicky, and when she was 18, she was babysitting, and a serial killer comes into the house and tries to kill her and the little boy that she's babysitting. The little boy's older brother, who died before this little boy was even born, he actually warns her out of the house. So that's where the spirit comes in. So with this book, there isn't the historical spirit aspect, but like I said, Boston is such a historical city that you can't help but not have the history embedded in this story of the American Revolution and, the Paul Revere ride and things like that. A lot of that is talked about in this book. And yeah, I don't want to get too much into it. So essentially what's happened is that, so she survived this serial killer, and this person was murdered, or like killed by police. And, but now there is someone else kind of copycatting the crimes, and he's after her. and because she's the one who got away, essentially. And so the FBI, or the crew of hunters, is now drawn into it, and a gentleman by the name of Griffin, and he knows her from before, from I think it's like 9 years earlier when this original attack took place. And he was the one who actually shot and killed the original perpetrator. So, you know, the two of them, of course, form a relationship. There is a bit of an age gap between them. I mean, nothing too out there. I mean, he was a police officer and she was still in college. So yeah, really, really great. Like I said, one of my favorites in the series. These can be read as standalones. I know I had someone ask me that. They sent me a message on Goodreads. If you ever have any questions and you don't want to post them in the comments below, please feel free to just pop me a message on Goodreads, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have. But I was asked whether these can be read as standalones, and they absolutely can. Each one of the crew of hunters can be read as a standalone novel. You do not need to have read the rest of the series. As you guys know, I'm a big person who, I really like reading series in order, and it's more so I don't miss any. That's my main reason as to why. I mean, they do kind of follow one another. You meet characters that you've met in previous books, but the author, you know, does such a great job that you don't have to have read the ones before. So, the next book that I finished this week was The Bungalow Mystery by Carolyn Keene. This is, of course, a mystery novel. It is book number 3 in the Nancy Drew series. It was published in 1930. It has an average rating of 3.92 stars on Goodreads, and I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought this one was really cute. I got one challenge for this one, actually. This is a really fun challenge that I happened upon, because I didn't finish this book until, I want to say it was like the 2nd or something like that, of July, and I was kind of poking around on the A Million More Pages group on Goodreads. I'll leave a link to this challenge in the description box below if you guys are interested in joining it. It's just kind of really fun, and what it is, it's called Fly Around the World with AMMP, or A Million More Pages. So essentially what they've done is they've given you, there's a list that they found online of every single airport code in the world. And for airport code, if you guys don't know what that means, like for example, for Toronto Pearson International Airport, our airport code I think is it ZZY or XXY?
YYZ.
YYZ. Sorry, my husband just sitting over here, I just asked him. YYZ. So they give each one a different code to make it, I guess, easier for airport control and things like that to know where planes are going or whatever. So a list of every single one in the world. I actually copy and pasted the list to make it easier on me so I could delete the ones that I've done, and I threw them into a Google Doc. 73 pages, guys. 73 pages. Like, this is huge. So essentially what the challenge is that you need to use authors' names. So for example, for this one it was Carolyn Keene, CK. So you needed to find an airport code that has a C and a K in it, but they have to be in that order. Like, it can't be KC. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be CK. And the goal is, like, on the Million More Pages, one of the fun things that they do is that they give you badges as you finish these challenges. If you want to collect them, they make up these cute little, like, you know, pictures of badges, and you can, like, they have little places that you can add them and stuff like that. It's kind of really fun and adorable. So the whole point of this challenge is to get 21 badges. But in order to get 21 badges, you need to read 5 books per badge, which makes 105 books in total. But the thing is, this challenge runs from July 1st to December 31st, so it's 6 months long. So I am participating because it just sounds like fun. So all that being said, for this one, I got Chicken Alaska. CKX is the airport code for Chicken Alaska. I have no idea where that is in Alaska, but I think I want to go there just because it's adorably named. I'm just picturing like Gonzo from the Muppets with his little chickens, like his hens or whatever, and they're all like at you know, control, like controlling like the planes coming in and stuff. That's what I'm picturing in my head. Anyway, back to the book. This was a really cute mystery. It starts off, like, you know, right off the top with Nancy and her friend Helen almost drowning in a boat, and then they get rescued by this other girl, and it turns out that this girl, she's an orphan, and she's being taken in by her guardians, as she calls them. I guess they were friends of her mother's, and she has some wealth. Her mother left her some money and some jewelry and things like that, and the guardians are quite mean to her, and Nancy's trying to find out what's going on, and there's a bank robbery. And what I love about these books, and I noticed, you know, the more I'm reading them, like I said, this is what, book number 3? The more I'm reading these are extremely complex mysteries. for a YA audience. Now, I mean, it was the 1930s, so things were a lot different, but it just seemed like there was so much going on, and they were so much more complex than the mysteries are today. And that's what I'm really finding interesting about them. I mean, they deal, like, for example, the very first book, the one about the missing will, Nancy gets into probate law, like, as you're talking about it. It just, you know, and this one, in embezzlement and things like that, it's stuff that just seems older than the characters themselves are, like, you know what I mean? And I appreciate that they don't, you know, make it seem silly and goofy for kids. You know, like, they wrote these, you know, for, you know, intelligent, an intelligent audience, essentially. And I really, really am enjoying reading through them. And yeah, this one was a lot of fun. Sorry, just checking my time. The next book that I finished was Secrets of the Tulip Sisters by Susan Mallery. This is a contemporary romance / chick lit novel, narrated on audio by Tanya Eby. Love her narration. This was published in 2017 by HQN. It has an average rating on Goodreads of 3.79 stars, and I gave it 4.5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this book, you guys. For my challenges for this one, I got 2. I got Where Are You Reading? I got the state of Washington. Yay. And also for the Fly Around the World, I got Des Moines, Iowa, which code is DSM. So SM for Susan Mallery. So yes, I really, really like this one. Now, you guys might remember if you watched my Anticipated Reads Rewind video, this is one of the books that was in my jar. So what I do while I'm preparing for those videos and writing everything down and making my notes is I look to see where the book's available if I don't own it. And this one I did not have a copy of. I had a copy on ebook, but I really wanted to listen to it on audio. And my library had it. But at the time that I was preparing my list, there was a 2-week hold wait on it. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to throw a hold on it right now. In case I pull it out of the jar, then I can read it. Like, I don't have to wait longer for it, essentially, in case somebody else put a hold on it as well and would make that time longer. So, no joke, the next day, I filmed the video, and I was uploading, and as I was uploading my videos to my computer to do all my editing, I got an email from the Toronto Public Library telling me that hold had come in. And I'm like, but I didn't pull that one out of the jar, but I'm like, it's in my library now to read, so I'm gonna read it. So I did. And I'm so glad I did. This is a great chick lit novel. This is not so much a contemporary romance as it is a chick lit. It's about 2 sisters who live in a small town in Washington called Tulip Crossing, I think is how, I'm trying to remember how it was actually said in the book. Tulip Crossing. And their big claim to fame is tulips. The older sister, Kelly, grows tulips. That's part of her business. It's been in the family for generations or something. And the younger sister, Olivia, lives in Phoenix, and she sells real estate. The 2 sisters have not really had any contact, in over 10 years. And then some stuff, like, happens, and the younger sister comes back, and, you know, secrets are revealed of their childhood. And, of course, there is a romance. You know, Kelly, the older sister, finds a guy, and, you know, Olivia starts a relationship with somebody, and then there's also their Kelly's best friend Helen, who's just a few years older than both the girls, and she finds love too. It's just a great story. I mean, there is so much going on. These 3 individual stories on how they all come together. I absolutely recommend it. Typically with Susan Mallery's books, I feel confident recommending them to people who are not so much into the sexy times in books, because she tends to tone it down. As I like to say, they're the behind closed doors adult content. In this one, I have to say though, it was a little bit more sexy times than she normally does. But there is a situation, but I don't want to get into it. But just be forewarned, if you are someone who reads her books because you feel that, you know, they're not clean, but they're not as much sexual content. This one does have a bit more, but it's not that bad, but it is there, and I just like to give people that heads up, especially because she's known for not that she's known for that, but she tends to be an author that doesn't have that as much. But just to let you know again. The next book that I finished this week was One Day Like This by Laura Briggs. This is a contemporary romance, a chick lit, again, and one that I'm going to actually classify more as a chick lit than as a contemporary romance. This is being published on July 17th, 2018 by Book Couture. It has an average rating on Goodreads of 4 stars, and I gave it 4 stars. I have no challenges for this one, but I'm actually not doing the review right now for you guys on this book. This is one that was sent to me by NetGalley, or via NetGalley, and the publisher as well, and I am going to be doing a full review of this book later this week. So this coming Friday, I will schedule that video to be uploaded. So if you're looking for my review, please go ahead and check that out this coming Friday. 4 stars, guys. I really enjoyed this book. And the last one that I finished this week was The Ballerina Secret by Teri Wilson. This is a contemporary romance. It is book number 1 in the Wild Heart series. Harlequin Special Edition number 2628. It was published in 2018 by Harlequin. It was actually a June release. And it has an average rating on Goodreads of 4.13 stars. I gave it 4 stars, you guys. It was great. So, challenges. I got 2 for this one. The Wonderful World of Romance Quarterly Challenge. I got actor, someone in film, or the entertainment industry. I am counting a ballerina as someone in the entertainment industry. She works in theater. She performs. That to me is no different than an actor or an actress, so that's why I'm counting it. And for the Fly Around the World, I got Appleton, I think it's Wisconsin. W-I is Wisconsin, and that's A-T-W. So, of course, Teri Wilson, T-W. So there we go. This one was so good. I really liked it. So it's about a woman named Tessa. And Tessa is a ballerina. She's been a ballerina her whole life. And then she has an accident, and during a lift, she falls and really badly hits her head off of the floor when her partner drops her accidentally. And she ends up losing her hearing. So at the beginning of the book, you meet her and Julian. And Julian is a former jazz musician, very, very well known. And he had been in a car accident, and he had his own issues he was dealing with. So the two of them meet by chance, essentially, or literally, I should say, because Chance is Julian's friend, who gets him this job at the ballet studio, where they're going to be putting on this ballet, and they need someone to play piano. So, you know, to get him out of his house, he's been in his house for the last year, he doesn't want to go and deal with people. Chance gets him this job, and then Julian meets Tessa. And the relationship goes from there. You know, them dealing with their own personal issues, with her losing her hearing, and him dealing with the aftermath of this accident, and how he doesn't feel like he can play anymore. I really enjoyed it. I wanted to give it 5 stars. The only reason I didn't is because I found the very end seemed very quick. The end seemed very quick to me. Like the story was drawn out, and you got so much into these characters and so much into what was going on with them and into their heads, that all of a sudden, I mean, the romance happened, and it was a slow burn, sort of. Like it took place over the entire course of the book, and then it's not towards the end until something actually really happens. I mean, something happens earlier on, but the big thing doesn't happen until later on. But then, like, immediately thereafter, suddenly they're pledging love to each other, and it just seemed abrupt, and it seemed, it just felt out of place. Like, the book could have been longer. Do you know what I mean? And, like, I don't know. But other than that, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I highly recommend it. I'm looking forward to reading the rest in the series. And yeah, if you're interested, definitely go ahead and check it out. So, what am I currently reading? My current audiobook is New York Actually by Sarah Morgan. This is book number 4 in the From Manhattan with Love series. I am so loving this series and so happy to be back in Manhattan with my favorite characters. And this is being narrated on audio by Jennifer Woodward. This does not feature the original 3 characters from the first 3 books. If you have read those first 3, Paige and Eva and I'm drawing a blank on the last girl's name. I'm so sorry. But those 3, Frankie, those 3 girls, you meet Eva in this story. I don't know if the rest of the girls pop up later. I'm only about 60% of the way through this right now. But I'm really, really enjoying it. This is the story of Molly and Daniel. Daniel is the brother of Felicity and Harriet. And they run the Bark Rangers, which I think is the greatest name for a dog walking service ever, business, walking dogs, that are employed by the girls from Urban Genie from the first 3 books. So that's the tie-in, is that they're kind of all friends with each other. And the next 2 books after this one is going to be the sisters, Felicity and Harriet stories. So I'm very much looking forward to those. But anyway, this is Dan and Molly, and both of them have had, you know, pretty brutal childhoods with divorce and things like that. Molly actually writes a love advice column online, and Dan is a divorce attorney. So, you know, kind of two opposite ends of the spectrum. But it's really cute. There's a lot of great dogs in this book too, which I'm absolutely loving. Like, they meet walking dogs essentially. And yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. I absolutely recommend this series. If you like a great contemporary romance with a dash of humor and some spice, check these out for sure. My current ebook is More Than a Convenient Bride by Michelle Celmer. This is book number 6 in the Texas Cattlemen's Club After the Storm series. This is a marriage of convenience story. So Julie is originally from South Africa, and she's living in the U.S. Working with Lucas, who is our male lead in this story. She's his research assistant, and her visa has been denied being renewed. And the two of them are very good friends, best friends as they call themselves. They've known each other for years and years. They've worked together in lots of different places all over the world. And he suggests to her, essentially, let's get married so we can get you your green card. And that's about the point I'm at the story in right now. So, so far I'm actually really enjoying it. It's cute. And yeah, I'll let you know. I should actually get this one done today because it's a relatively short book. And after I'm done this, I have the whole day to relax. My current childhood book, as I like to be calling them. I've been so waiting for that Babysitter's Club book to come in at the library. I'm getting so annoyed. And I checked it again on Thursday, I think, when I grabbed this book. And it still said 4 weeks. I'm like, I'm never going to get to read these. And I actually started debating on actually going to buy it for the Kindle, but it's $5. And, you know, I know it's only $5, but that's out of my book budget. And the library has it. You know, I don't want to buy it if the library has it. I just must be patient. Patience is something I don't have a lot of. Anyway, so I decided to go ahead and pick up this book instead, which is Secrets Can Kill by Carolyn Keene. And that is book number 1 in the Nancy Drew Files series. So this is the series that came out in the 80s. I decided to take a break from the original Nancy Drew and read something a bit more modern, modern meaning 1980s. But yeah, this one, Nancy poses as a high school student. She's 18, so she's about a year or so out of high school. But she poses as a high school student to find out who is stealing audiovisual equipment from the AV room. Anyone else who went to high school, you know, in the 80s and 90s will know exactly what I'm talking about. And people are also stealing stuff from student files and, like, you know, pertinent information and stuff. So I'm only about 4 chapters in, but I'm really liking it. So as I was saying, I had 4 weeks still await on that Babysitter's Club book. I started this one. I got 2 or 3 chapters into it. And then yesterday, at the end of the day, I checked my email, and the library says, all of a sudden that Babysitter's Club book is ready for me to read. So when I'm done this one, that one I'll be reading next. So I'm very much excited about that. And I've already put the next 2 Babysitter's Club books on hold at the library because both of them have like 6-week waits on them. So, because I think our library only has 1 copy of each on ebook. So that's what I'm going to do, is just going forward, just putting the next one, like the next couple, on hold. And then as they come in, I can read them. So they don't take long to read at all. And my print book. I just started this one this morning, and already I am loving it, and that is Diary of a War Bride by Lauri Robinson. Oh my gosh, guys, I love the cover. This is so pretty. So this is one that I got with my points. I've been buying this one in the Ballerina Secret. I got using my Harlequin points. It's 5,000 points for a print book because you don't pay for shipping, which is brilliant. But yeah, so this is about a woman who is in England, and he is an American soldier. This is set during World War II. And I think it's 1943 is when the book starts. 1942 is when the book starts. And they're building a base very close to where she lives. And she doesn't like them being there because she's afraid that their planes are going to track the German Nazis. And, you know, then they're going to find their town and bomb their town. And she's afraid for that. So, but the two of them have literally just met. I'm 20 pages in and they've already met. And yeah, so this is going to be a really, really great story. And the really fun thing is the main character, the male lead in this book, his name is Dale. And when I was reading the beginning of the book, there's a little author's note. And then there's the dedication. I always like looking at the dedication. Does anybody else like doing that? But she said, this is the dedication. To my uncles Ralph and Dale, this one's for you. So she named the male lead off of her uncle. And then already in the book, he mentions his brother Ralph. So I just think that's adorable that she, you know, paid homage to her family doing that. So I think that's really great. And I just have to think, like, you know, my grandfather served in World War II. So this isn't, you know, I'm so used to reading historical novels that took place so long ago that I can't possibly know what it would have been like. But, you know, my grandfather serving in World War II, you know, it's a little more recent history, and I think it's fascinating. So I'm very excited about this one. Anyway, guys, that is it for this video. A little bit shorter than normal, I think. Should I show you guys my knitting? No, it's really not that interesting. I haven't really moved that much further. This weekend I plan on working on my campsite cardie, the brown one. I'm done the body now. I just have to do the ribbing on the bottom, and then I just have to pick up the button band and do that, which it sounds like it's nothing, but it's going to take some time. But then that'll be done, and I'm so excited about having that sweater done. So videos coming up this week. My next one that I have this week is going to be, of course, my June wrap-up. A little delayed, I know, but, you know, with the end of the month falling on a Saturday, and I didn't finish my last book until Saturday, so we're a little delayed. But that's okay. So that'll be coming. And then I have, actually, my anticipated reads for August is coming up this week. Very exciting. I know it's earlier in the month, but, you know, it is what it is. And then, of course, like I said, that book review is coming next Friday, so stay tuned for that as well. Anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books, what you thought about them. I know I do have someone reading this with me this weekend. We are doing an unofficial buddy read on this one, so if anyone else wants to join us, please do let me know. And it'll be fun to discuss in comments next week, because I do hope to finish this one before next video. That is my goal, is to finish one of these in a week. I think I can do it. And yeah. And until my next video, guys, take care and happy reading. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.